Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm SkaiiNyght. Have you ever just not wanted a network manager, or completely forgot to install one when you were doing an Arch installation? Well, today we're going to walk through how to essentially do all of the networking things just through Arch itself. We aren't going to be adding NetworkManager. We aren't going to be adding DHCPCD or any other thing that will automatically do it for us. We will be configuring the network. We will be creating a static IP address. We will be setting up bridge networking, and we will be having this just enabled when the computer boots. Let's get into it. But as we can see, if we try to reach out to the internet, doesn't work. We don't have any internet at the moment. So let's set that up. And if we check to see what our devices are, you'll see that we have our ENP1S0, our Ethernet device. It's not connected to anything. It doesn't have an IP address, nothing with it to set up, but it is there. So you'll at least need it to be there. All right, the first thing that we're going to want to do is let's just create the bridge device itself. It's pretty simple to do. So make sure that you are either running this as sudo or as the root user. I'm just going to be doing the root user just because that'll be easier. Because everything we're going to be doing is, we're going to require sudo. Okay, now we are logged in as root. We're going to do IP link, add name, and then the name of your bridge. I generally go with BR0. It literally doesn't matter what you name it. The standardized way is BR and then a number 0 if it's the only one there. And we're going to give it a type of bridge. So IP link add, giving it a name of BR0 and telling it it's of type bridge. And if we do another IPA to list all the devices, you'll see that it is now been added. All right, now we are just going to want to essentially tell the Ethernet device that we want it to use the bridged connection. So IP link set ENP1S0, and whatever yours is, it'll very likely differ. Set ENP1S0 master BR0. And you'll see here that this changed. We added master BR0. So now the BR0 is the master for this. Alright, now let's try to set them up. ENP1S0 up. IP link set BR0 up. Let's see if that did anything. Alright, so they are now both in an up state. However, neither of them have IPv4 addresses still, which is expected. So let's add a static IP address to the BR0. So IP address add, and for this it's going to depend on what your internal network looks like. I'm on subnet 42 on mine. It can be whatever you want on yours. I don't know, give it 20. And then the CIDR notation. This is essentially just assigning a net mask and a IP address in one go. So that's equivalent to a net mask of 255.255.255.0 with the IP address of 192.168.42.20. And we need to tell what to add this to. So BR0. So IP address add. Your IP address in CIDR notation, and then the DEV to tell it which device, and BR0 or whatever you named your bridge. And if we look again, we will see that we have 192.168.42.20.24 assigned to BR0. We still won't have any connection to the internet, however, as there is no route and we have no DNS setup. So let's set up the route first. So iproute2 add default via 192.168.42.1, which again, that's specifically for me on my network. Yours may be different. However, the vast majority of the time, your default gateway address will be .1 at the end. So, and we need to tell it which device to have this use. So BR0. And if you try again, we still won't have internet connectivity. I got one more thing to do. We need to actually set up the DNS. All right, and with Arch and probably other applications as well, there is a file that you're going to need to alter. So /etc/resolve.conf. All right, and we're just going to add a couple lines of this file. All right, the first thing we're going to want to add to this file is our name server, or where the name server is. So name server, and I'm going to be using an internal Pi-hole DNS that I have set up. So I am on 192.168.42.69.200. You very likely won't have that. However, you should be fine with doing something like 1.1.1.1. That is the Cloudflare DNS. You could have a backup as 8.8.8.8, which is Google. And I'm just going to have those in there as well. All right, so the order of these matters. It's going to try to do the first one, and then the second, and then the third. If there's third, you can have up to 3 values here. I generally just have my internal Pi-hole one. It can also be set up on the router. All right, so we want name server, and then search this is essentially kind of like what your domain name is. So mine would be SkaiiNyght.com. Okay, and that's all that needs to be in there. So write and save that. And now I believe, and now we have internet access. So the thing about this is that this will only work when you manually enter it. So we're going to need to create a script that does this for us. So I'm just going to create that in cd/usr cd local. Sure. cd bin. What do we have in here? So nothing in here now. Okay, so let's create the Vim network initialization.sh. First, tell it that this is a bash file. So first thing we're going to do is IP link set br0, or IP link add name br0 type bridge. After that, we assigned it. We created the master for it. So IP link set enp1s0 master br0. And then we just stood these up. So IP link set br0 up, IP link set enp1s0 up. Next, we assigned a IP address to the bridge. So IP address add 192.168, and again, this will be different for whatever it is that you're doing. 24 and device bridge 0. Then we set up the route, or rather we set up the default route. So IP route add default via 192.168.42.1 for br0. And then we edited a file. I generally like to just do an echo command that writes to the file. So echo, and what was it? The first one was the name server. So echo name server. I'm going to do mine 192.168.69.200. Yours would most likely be 1.1.1.1 or 8.8.8.8 or whatever it is that you would like. We're going to throw that into /edc/resolve.conf, rewriting everything in that file, and we're going to add another thing to it. So search SkaiiNyght.com, and then we're going to append that to the same file, so resolve.conf. Okay, so we are creating the bridge. We are assigning it to the bridge as a master to the Ethernet device. We're standing them both up. We're assigning a static IP address to the bridge. We are adding a default gateway to the bridge device. We are setting up DNS records. You would most likely, unless you had the off chance of creating a pie hole specifically on this IP address on your internal network, you won't have that. But we are adding the name servers and our search. So write and quit that. Now we need to make that executable. So chmod +x, the network initialization. Now we need to create a systemd service to run this. So if we go into cd/edc systemd system, and now let's create a service. So vim, what did I call that? Network initialization, network initialization.service. All right, so we're going to do an opening bracket, unit, and we're going to do this description equals kind of whatever you want to put here. Initialize networking, and then I'm going to add before network.target. So before you try to load the networking, do this, because this is the networking. Now for the service itself, type, suppose you could do simple or a one-shot. I think I'm just going to do a one-shot. Exec start equals /usr/local/bin/ and we called it network initialization.sh, I believe. I think that's right. Let's check that actually. Exit out of there. Right, quit, and local bin network initialization. Okay, so yep, that is correct. So open that back up. And now the install. So install be wanted by multi-user.target. Okay, so we gave the service a description or a name, kind of. We're telling it before you try to instantiate the network, do this, because this is instantiating network. We're doing a type of a one-shot, and we're telling it to run the network initialization script that we created, wanted by the multi-user target. Now we need to enable that, so sudo. I guess I'm already logged in as root, so systemctl, or system control, enable now network initialization service. And now if we reboot, it should work. It should, as soon as we're back logged in, we should have network connectivity. Okay. And there we go. We have network connectivity. So you see that we have our bridge device at 192.168.42.20/24. We have our Ethernet device set up to be the slave to the BR0, or rather BR0 is the master. Both of them are up, and everything is working. All right, that is everything that you need to do to get networking working without a network manager. This is basically no overhead at all. So I every time I reinstall Arch, I do this instead of adding a network manager. I actually, when I'm running Arch, I tear out a network manager or a DHCPCD from whatever graphical environment that I installed. If it came with one, I rip it out and just do this anyway because it's just faster. Yeah,
Well, I'm SkaiiNyght. Thank you all for hanging out with me. See you later.